its main intersections a festival site, rerouted all traffic, and set up a stage and sound system. Thousands would gather nightly. The crowd was sometimes so large and excited that Prabhupada would have difficulty speaking about the noise. So he would hold a kirtana. In the quiet that followed, he would have one or two of his disciples speak. Then he would speak. If the audience again become noisy, he would again say, "All right, let us have kirtan." Or sometimes he would simply sit and describe bits of crystallized sugar candy to the thousands who approached him to touch his lotus feet and take a piece of prasadam. Hare Krishna. So we're ending here. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita ki jai. Now it is Suhrit Krishna who will now continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam reading. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, all given to you now.
Yeah, we'll just cite the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Tirabhavati Naishtiki Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Parahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyamavishkritam Tachrinvan Supathan Vicharanaparo Bhaktya Vimuchinara Bhaktya Vimuchinara Bhaktya Vimuchinara Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So we'll continue reciting from Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13, Text 2. So this is that Sarvasya Chaham tune. Yasyam ime san naradeva dasyavaha sartham vilumpanti kunaya kambala gomaya vo yatra haranti sarthikam pramattamavishya yathoranam vrikaha. Okay, somebody would like to read or recite rather verse.
Yasham imeshan naradeva dashabhya shartam vilupanti kunayakam balad gamaya bhu yatra haranti shartikam paramattam avishya yato arohan brikaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I also recite. Jashyami me Naradeva Dashabha Shartham Vilumpanti Kunayakam Balat Gamoya Boyatra Haranti Sharthikam Pramattam Abhishya Yathoranam Vrikaha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Yashami meshan naradeva dasavaha sartham vilumpanti kunayakam balat gomaya vayatra haranti sarthikam pramattam abhishya yathoranam vrikaha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am also trying. Yashamam imeshan naradeva Dashava Sharthang Vilumpanti Kunayakang Balat Gomaya Vajatra Haranti Sarthikam pramattamabhisya jathoranang brika. Hare Krishna.
Can somebody read the word for word, please?
Yes, Prabhu, I can read. Yashyam, in which, in the forest of material existence, Ime, these Sat Shiks Nara Deva, O king, Dasayava, the plunderers, Sa Artham, the conditioned souls who are interested in false ideas, Bilumpanti, plunder, regularly taking away all the positions, Ku Nayakam, who are always misguided by so-called gurus or spiritual masters, Balat, by force, Gamaya Gamayabha, exactly like foxes. Yatra, in which forest, Haranti, they take away. So Arthikam, the conditioned soul who is seeking material profits to maintain the body and soul. Pramattam, who is a crazy man, not knowing his self-interest. Abhisha, entering the heart. Yatha, just as Uranam, nicely protected lambs. Brikaha, the tigers. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Somebody else can read the translation, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. O King Rahugana, in this forest of material existence, there are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus, the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money, and it is taken away by these plunderers, like tigers, jackals, and other ferocious animals in a forest that are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of its protector. The wife and children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you. And somebody else can read the purport, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the forest there are many plunderers, dacoits, jackals and tigers. The jackals are compared to one's wife and children. In the dead of night, jackals cry very loudly, and similarly, one's wife and children in this material world also cry like jackals. The children says, "Fathers, this is wanted. Give me this. I am your dear son." Or the wife says, "I am your dear wife. Please give me this. This is now needed." In this way, one is plundered by thieves in the forest. Not knowing the aim of human life, one is constantly being misguided. The aim of life is Vishnu, not a sorry, not a viduha shartha gatim hi Vishnu. Everyone works very hard to earn money, but no one knows that his real self-interest in serving the Supreme Personality of God. Instead of spending money for advancing in Krishna conscious movement, one spends his hard-earned money on club, brothels, liquor, slaughterhouse, and so forth. Due to sinful activities, one becomes implicated in the process of transmigration, and thus one has to accept one body after another. Being thus absorbed in a distressed condition, one never attains happiness. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Excuse me. Cough and cold today. So I'll just read the translation again. So before we start discussing. O King Rahuguna, in this forest of material existence, there are 6 very powerful plunderers. when the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus, the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money, and it is taken away by these plunderers. Like tigers, jackals, and other ferocious animals in a forest, they are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of its protector. The wife and children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. So this verse and the purport that Prabhupada writes, it's one of those very heavy verses in Bhagavatam. And if we do not read or understand from Prabhupada's purports correctly, perhaps we also might need some help to understand from a senior mature devotee that what is Prabhupada trying to say. Because it's, as it says, it's very heavy. So we are always attached to our wife, our family, our children. And here Prabhupada uses very strong words, and they're compared to like jackals, wolves, and tigers. Now, it is very difficult for somebody to read this and comprehend and think that, oh my God, why is Prabhupada so hard? And in fact, why is Jada Bharat so hard on something that I'm doing my duty for? The family, taking care of my family, my kids, my children is part of my duty. So if we don't understand it in the right context, then we get misguided, or we'll have the wrong understanding, which is not good. So Prabhupada, as we know, many occasions and many times, he took a lot of these controversial topics and he openly, in very detailed way and very nice way, he explained the whole process of understanding it correctly. One of a similar topic is, the gender difference, the differences or the so-called inferiority, superiority of genders. Now, if somebody does not understand it correctly, they may think that, some gender is being willfully or neglectfully put down. That's not the point. So here, there are 2 or 3 important points. So first, Jada Bharat is saying that there are 6 plunderers. And the word here, if you see in the verse actually, is Sat Dasyavaha. In Bengali, we say Doshu, meaning, dacoits, lutera. So they are plunderers. So who are these 6 plunderers? So these 6 plunderers, Prabhupada writes in the beginning of this chapter in his summary, that these 6 plunderers are nobody but our own senses, our 6 senses, which means the 5 senses and the mind. So these are the plunderers. Now somebody might question that, okay, if they are plunderers, then they are not plundering all the time. They are also helping me do service. But so why are they being referred to as plunderers? So we'll just come back to that. So first is there are 6 plunderers. And then Jada Bharat talks about carnivorous animals. Why carnivorous animals? Because carnivorous animals eat other living entities, human beings, anybody rather, and they suck the blood. So carnivorous animals, when they bite into, they actually suck the blood. So similarly, an example given here is these wolves, jackals, and tigers. They are carnivorous. They attack somebody and they completely suck the blood of that person and destroys that person, kills that person. So another example Prabhupada gives in the purport, or an analogy, is that jackals and wolves, they cry. So they have this weird sound. So they cry, and looking at the cry, somebody is not on mute, please. Can you? So So this crying of the jackals and wolf is compared to the crying of one's family members, namely the children and wife. And what is that cry? That cry is all about, somebody crying and demanding that, oh, you should give me, that is, this is what I want, this is what I desire, and it is your duty to give me. And there are all kinds of emotional blackmails that are accompanied by that, whereby the person who is in charge of taking care of his family, his immediate family members, he feels pressurized. And because of that pressure, he has to work very hard to earn more money, to be able to fulfill the desires of these people. And Prabhupada writes that if he doesn't know how to, because he's earned a lot of money or working very hard to earn more money, if he doesn't know how to utilize the money, then it will be unnecessarily spent for sense gratification. And what happens, we know, when money is only sent for, or rather spent for sense gratification, there is no purpose. There is no purpose. It is just like a dark well where everything is put in and there is no end to it. So such people are referred to as Griha Medis. Shastri call it Griha Medis. Now, why is Jada Bharat suddenly, see, from the last 2 chapters, is it not? Yes. From 11, 12, he's been instructing Maharaj Raghuguna. And in this particular chapter, we see he is he is giving the analogy of this material world. And anybody recollects, we had a similar analogy in a previous canto where one personality was describing to another king the nature of this material world through an example, through an analogy of material existence. Anybody recollects?
Yeah, Prabhuji, Puranjan was
Puranjana.
Mr.
Absolutely. Narad Muni and Puranjana, King Puranjana or Prachina Parishad. And we had the whole chapter on this aspect. So same thing we see, Jada Bharat is in this chapter embarking on the same journey to educate Maharaj Raghuguna. Why? Why does he want to do that? In fact, Raghuguna was the one who was, he was offensive and he said all kinds of things to Jada Bharat. And that is, as we have discussed earlier, the speakers have also commented on it, is Jada Bharat had nothing to do. It was just that he is existing in this material world, but externally and internally, he is transcendental. Nothing in this material world affects him. No criticism affects him. No situation affects him. No environment affects him. He is only here to ultimately attain the destination. And whilst attaining the destination, whenever he gets an opportunity to share this wonderful transcendental knowledge, he is wanting to share. Now, because in spite of doing all of that, Maharaj Raghuguna got down from the palki and he recognized that this is a great personality. He's not an ordinary person. An ordinary person does not speak like this. They don't have knowledge, holistic knowledge like this. So he understood. So he had some kind of piety by which he could understand the greatness of a soul like Jada Bharat. And because he was inclined to hear, so the preacher or the guru or the tutor or a Shiksha Guru is not willing to start giving lessons or education or knowledge until the person in the front is actually wanting to hear that knowledge. So first is to understand that is the person really interested or not. Otherwise, see, Jada Bharat could have given the same knowledge when he was carrying the palki and Raghuguna was inside the palki. But it would not have had any effect. So you have to wait for the opportune moment. Just like we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had to wait for Arjun to ultimately formally surrender and be receptive to hearing the message from Krishna. Not that he was not hearing Krishna. He was talking to Krishna, he was hearing him all through his life. But now it was a serious matter. Now he stopped speaking and he wanted Krishna to talk. So just like that, here, as soon as Jadabharat realized that Maharaj Raghuguna is now conducive to hearing this message, and he took it upon him to talk about this information. Why? So that he can create some kind of detachment in the heart and mind of Maharaj Raghuguna. Because he's a king, you see, he's attached. He's got family, he's got his kingdom, his ministers, so many responsibilities and so many things to do. And he's got ample opportunity for sense gratification as a king. So Jadabharat took it upon him to get him detached. So he was very kind on Maharaj Raghuguna and he showed his compassion. So this is a hallmark of a person who is completely devoted to Krishna. He wants to actually do some welfare activity which is eternal for the person, for that soul. So that's how he started the whole thing, the whole description. And as we move ahead, we will see how he very nicely almost describes the same thing that he has already started narrating in the previous chapters. So back to our 6 plunderers. Now, some of you, as I said, it's a very heavy verse. You may not, our minds or heart may not accept it completely as is, and we may have a lot of questions or some kind of argument against this. So we have to understand one thing. Sometimes people get a bit confused that as a family man, should we have attachment? Should we have affection for our family members or shouldn't we? We should just come with a very grave face, just do our duties, whatever needs to be done, and then do our own thing. No connection, no too much relationship, no. That sometimes people get very hard, it's called very hard-hearted. The fact that Krishna has put us in this position, of course, we all have the propensity to enjoy our senses. I mean, that's why we have got this body in the first place, right? If none of us had any desire for sense gratification, we would not be sitting here in this material world. We would be gone. The fact that we have, of course, some people have less desire for sense gratification, some people have got more desire. That's the only difference, nothing else. So people who only want to have sense gratification, just want to enjoy and want to fulfill their enjoying propensities and the desires that point them or take them to such enjoying propensities, it is for such people. So the person, there is a difference between affection and attachment. People sometimes confuse the two and think it's the same. It's not the same. Attachment and affection. So as a person who is looking after their dependents, of course, when we start a family, why do we start a family? There is some propensity to enjoy. So we are looking for marrying somebody in the proper way system, so we can have restricted sense gratification. Sense gratification is there, but it is restricted and it is done in a way that doesn't affect or impact our spiritual path. It has to be done. Similarly, when we have kids, we are also, of course, when we have the kids, it is a pleasurable experience as they grow up, interacting with them. It's also a lot of work bringing them up, especially when we are bringing up kids or raising kids as nuclear families, where there are no grandparents, uncles and aunties, unlike the Vedic culture, where the whole family used to be together. So there has to be a very good support system. But here there is no support. You need to do on your own. So people feel a lot of pressure. So much so that I don't know about other places, but in India currently, as we speak, most of the current generation, they only have one kid. Apart from rising costs and all of that, they just don't have the ability to raise another kid. Many don't even have kids or don't want kids. So like that, because they see it as an impediment to their sense gratification. Even when somebody has kids, it could be a source of sense gratification till they grow up. So do we have affection for children and our wife or husband? Of course. Without affection, there cannot be any relationship. Now, somebody might say, well, if we don't have affection for people around us who we can see in flesh and blood, who we can interact with, who we can have a relationship with, do you think we can have a relationship with Krishna without affection? We have to feel affection, and it is natural in the heart of any human being. So affection is natural. Affection must be there. If we are not affectionate towards people who are close to us, there is some big problem. We need some counseling. But that affection should not lead us to excessive attachment. I'll give an example. When we are affectionate towards our kids, affection does not mean that whatever the child does, I endorse. If the child is doing something wrong, it is my duty to correct the child in a nice way so that the child can understand. That is affection. Affection does not mean only giving gifts and only praising and glorifying the child, as some people think. That's not the case. Affection means it is my duty to not only correct him when I need to, I also need to give him the culture, the values. But if I am excessively attached, meaning attachment means whatever my child does is good. And if somebody else, supposing my child does a little bit here and there and not something good, and somebody else corrects my child, I become angry. I become excessively agitated. And instead of correcting my child, I will have a chat with the person who corrected my child. So this is excessive attachment. Is it good? You decide. So we should be affectionate, but we should not be excessively attached. That is one thing. Second is, we have a duty. As grihasthas, we have a duty. So we have to understand what is our duty. And while doing our duty, there may be some aspects of sense gratification. It cannot be zero. There is some aspect. But if instead of doing our duty, we are only focused on sense gratification, that's a big problem. That whatever I'm doing, ultimately it should satisfy me. Ultimately, it should give me some happiness, some pleasure. Yena kena prakarena. It should give me pleasure. So that's the second one. And another aspect which I wanted to mention is there was a quote, I forget from whom, it's not from Bhagavatam, but it is some personality had said in respect to parents and children, in terms of parenting, that parents who only leave a lot of money, parents who leave only a lot of money for their kids are actually destroying their kids. And that is how the whole world is functioning. People are working hard so that my kid, then my grandkids, they don't have to work. That is their feeling. Now, the problem is in the statement itself. Why are you working so hard so that your children and your grandchildren should not work? Means what? You are making them useless. You are ultimately forcing them or giving them the shortcut to get something for nothing. And in this world, you don't get anything for nothing. You need to put in effort. Without effort, nothing happens. Even bhakti takes effort. Krishna looks at our effort. Of course, it has to be in the right consciousness. So people who are only leaving money for the kids are destroying them. It's not that we cannot leave money for the kids, but what is most important or more important than money, if somebody can leave money without working too hard, that's fine. And by default, when we pass away, everything goes to the kids anyway. But what is more important than money is what are we leaving or giving our kids in terms of values and in terms of culture. Because if they've got the right values, even if we are not able to leave a lot of money, they will be successful in life. And hand on heart, many of us who are in this forum today, I'm sure I can talk for many of you, and I have experienced the same. See, our parents did not leave us with a lot of money, like 5-6 houses and cars and huge assets and properties and businesses. No, they might have, somehow or the other purchased a house. And maybe they might have some, one property or some investment. Nothing fancy, nothing huge. But what they gave us is ability to stand on our own feet and culture and values. And all of us here are products of that culture and value, whatever our parents have given us. And it's because of their culture and values, somehow or the other, when we came in touch with devotees, we could relate to it. We could see that as the perfect path for our own spiritual progress. And that's why we took to Prabhupada's process, right? So for us taking to this Prabhupada's process, our parents are responsible. They may not be directly Krishna conscious or they may not be chanting, but they've given us the values. So we should always, always, always be extremely thankful and express gratitude to our parents for doing that. So that is a grihastha, not a grihamedhi. So persons who are only looking for temporary happiness, only want sense gratification, only wants to fulfill their desires but at any cost, they are people who work very hard, earn a lot of money, and because they don't know how to use that money, what is the goal of life, what happens? First of all, their own senses are always agitated. So they plunder him day and night. Every time they keep plundering him. And because he does not have a broader understanding of life, of Grihastha, his own family become like wolves, tigers, and jackals. And they completely sap his life and energy. By the time he reaches a stage before he has to retire from life, he's completely destroyed. So this is a situation of Grihamedhis. Whereas a person who has got values, who's following the process, it's not that he doesn't do sense gratification. It's not that he doesn't have desires, but he does it under regulation. The key word is regulation. Do everything, but it has to be just like we say, eat. You can eat everything. Unless you've got a medical condition, you should eat everything. But after a certain age, certain things we should reduce because our physical activities, unlike when we were kids, have reduced. So we can't keep having the same food and the same quantity of food and the same richness of food even when we grow old. So after 40 or after 50, there are certain restrictions. Doesn't matter whether you've got medical conditions or not. We should voluntarily give up. Why? For a higher purpose. So that we are able to devote more time and energy to fulfill the goal of human existence and slowly prioritize our life accordingly. So this is a very, very important aspect to understand. So it is not that family members are bad, but we should have affection for them. We should give them values, culture, and not see them as objects of our own sense gratification, which increases our excessive attachment for them. So we have to understand that very, very clearly. And we see so many examples. We see examples of course, There is another example in Bhagavatam, which again we have discussed, where a father is giving very, very similar instructions to his sons, that how they should lead their life, what should be the goal of their life. Anybody can guess? It's
Rishabdev.
Rishabdev, absolutely. Yes. Rishabdev. Also Maharaj Bharat. Yeah, there are many examples. And then, of course, we also have the example of our own Srila Prabhupada, of how he was taking care of his own family. It is not that he gave everything up. He was a grihastha for most of his initial life, till he was just on the verge of retirement. And then he settled his kids. He ensured everybody has got what they need to continue their life. And then he obviously departed from family life and took sannyas. So there is, of course, it's not that everybody needs to go through that process of sannyas, but what is important is that element of detachment. That is the key aspect, that I'm not attached. And that's why I used affection versus attachment. So affection meaning detachment. That I'm doing not because you are giving me pleasure. I'm doing because I love you and I want to serve you and I want to ensure I take care of you and give you what I feel is best for you. That's attachment. That is affection. But attachment is you are an object of my sense gratification. So keep giving me pleasure. If you don't, I get angry. So this is very, very important. So that's why here Maharaj Rahuguna is being taught the lesson of detachment. And what is the best way? We all know that what is the best way for detachment is to somehow or the other dovetail all our desires. Desire somehow in the process of Krishna consciousness. There is a nice verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila. Krishner charane hoy jodi anurag, Krishna binu anjatro tar nahi rohe rag. Which means Krishna charane hoy jodi anurag, one who is attached to the lotus feet of Krishna by engaging in devotional service under the guidance of his spiritual master. Krishna binu anjatro tar nahi rohe rag. So he gradually loses attachment for everything else. That rag, whatever attachment he has for other things, other material things, slowly, he loses that. And I'm sure all of you experience this, right? Before we came to Krishna consciousness, can you evaluate how attached we all were to the material things? Perhaps to our own family, and the possessions that we had, we were very attached. But as we start sincerely following the process, our attachment level has come down, isn't it? It's not the same. I mean, if it's the same, then again, we need some counseling. But I'm pretty sure it's not the same. I can say for all of you, without even you having to say yes or no. Why? Because it's the process that works. Krishna has given us that process. Prabhupada has made it even simpler for us to do. So this is exactly what Jada Bharat is telling Maharaj Rahuguna. And another word he uses here in this verse, which I thought was very nice. Ku Nayakam. Nayak means usually, like literally translation of Nayak is like a hero. So here Prabhupada translates that a Nayakam is actually a false guru or a pretender spiritual master. And Ku Nayakam. So Nayak means hero. And Ku Nayakam means anti-hero. He's a villain. In the name of Nayak, he's actually a villain. A Khal Nayak. So Ku Nayakam. So to be very careful from whom we take this advice. See, Maharaj Rahuguna also, he had some idea. So as soon as Jada Bharat started speaking, he could understand that, oh, this is a genuine person. So unless we have got certain knowledge, certain basic understanding, it is very difficult for us to understand who is bona fide, who is not. And that's why once we start following this process that Prabhupada has given us, it is our duty. It is not an option. It is a duty for all of us to somehow or the other transmit this knowledge to others. Whether we do it through a formal program like a Bhakti Vriksha or Namahat, or we do one-offs, or we just transmit this knowledge when we speak to somebody or interact with somebody, it is a must. It is our duty to do it as followers of Srila Prabhupada. He wants us to do it. Of course, there is a process and there is a system in which we want to impart that knowledge, so it is effective and beneficial. We don't want to just bombard somebody forcefully. So it's a technique. So that's why if you see the first purpose of ISKCON is to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge and to teach others the techniques of spiritual life. It's very important. So it's a technique that Prabhupada is teaching us. And when we teach others, our own technique becomes solidified. We feel more connected to Srila Prabhupada. So, in conclusion, if we do not take to this process of Krishna consciousness, we will be constantly troubled by these 6 Shad Dasyavaha, or the 6 plunderers. Yes. And if we do not know how to lead a proper family life, how we should earn money, how we should spend the money, where we should save or invest or put our energy and resources, everything by default will become a sense gratificatory process. And that is what is being condemned by Jada Bharat. And he is explaining that to Maharaj Rahuguna. And it is the same message that Prabhupada gives us, that if we are not fully connected in devotional service to Krishna, we will never be able to fulfill the goal of human existence. And we will become a Grihamedhi, as most of the world is. So all Prabhupada is telling us to do is from Grihamedhi become a Grihastha. Grihastha, ashram. The word ashram is very important, as many of you would know. Ashram means what? Ashram. That word shram is there in ashram. Shram means, what does shram mean?
It's labor, Guruji.
Hard work. Yes. Means perspiration. You should work so hard that you should perspire. So that is shram. And ashram is a place where you are engaging in hard work to keep everything together, to ultimately achieve that goal. So this Grihastha ashram is not a place or an expectation that people are entering a Grihastha and only for sense gratification and to take things easy. Now my life is set. I don't have to work very hard. I'll just enjoy. Yeah. No. One thing to keep in mind, when we say work hard, doesn't mean you work hard like Prabhupada says, donkeys and asses. Not that work hard. Work hard means there has to be physical effort. There has to be constant effort to continuously do our duties correctly. So it should not exceed or go beyond limit. At the same time, we should not have any expectation that life will be easy now. Many times we feel that, I've gone through a lot of problems and miseries, and now I am expecting life to be a bit easy. That's a completely unrealistic expectation, and it is never ever going to happen. Something or the other will come up. Maybe not as intense as the previous misery, but it will come up. So if we are not following the process of Prabhupada, by default, we are situated as a Grihamedhi. It's only Prabhupada who's given us the process, and he's converted us from Grihamedhi to a Grihastha ashram. And that is the purpose of Jada Bharat giving this information to Maharaj Rahuguna. So with that, I would like to conclude today. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Happy to take any questions, examples, or something that people want to add.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for enlightening the inner meanings of this text, though it has some analogies, but the true matter is to understand uh, through this Shastra how Raguna is made informative about the life and its journey through Jaravarat. And Jaravarat tried to mention that the way of life, how to lead the life. So to make him understand the difference between a Griyamedi and Grihastha, so important that to understand what is the importance of, as you mentioned, affection and attachment is very, very important for all of us to understand, which is to be balanced in such a way that everything goes smoothly. So Prabhupada has given all the instrument for us to use them in the right consciousness, as that attachment and affection should be so regulated that it never exceeds the limit of expectation. Otherwise, it can create havoc in your life, and that is the reason why this Jaravarat was explaining the six plunderers, because they become so active and engross you when you are in an imbalanced condition. So it's very, very important to understand the Griyamedi life and Grihastha life on the context of affection and attachment. That will clearly make us understand the difference and balance our life so nicely. For that, we need someone to give us example or guidance, and that is who is our bona fide guru. On selecting upon a guru, we should be very careful that we rightly approach a bona fide guru who can really give us the right thought and direction in the progress of our spiritual advancement. Otherwise, we may astray. So this is the importance of this text explained by Jadabharat to Rahuguna, so that he can understand the importance. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for a very nice class, and particularly making out the essence of a family life or a Garhastha life. And as you have mentioned that we are not, after all, we are not stones, so we have a heart, and in any relationship, the love is the bond that creates between the two persons. So we cannot be without love with our children and other members of the family. It is not possible, in fact. And when it is not there, there is no relationship in fact. So, but as we remember that in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, I think it was very clearly Prabhupada has told the two things. One is called that is Yukta Vairagya, and the other is Fulgu Vairagya. And Yukta Vairagya means one who is doing everything, but knowing it is the things of Krishna. So I'm only doing on behalf of Krishna. And Krishna has given me this situation, I should make best use of that. That is the Yukta Vairagya. That means when we are in a family, we have to think that the Krishna has given us this opportunity and I have to utilize it for the best benefit for the service of the Lord. So in this way, a family can become a place of serving the Krishna. The whole family, the whole members as a team can work each other, help each other for the service of the Lord. So a grihastha or a family man is never away from Krishna. In fact, every members of the family is helping each other to reach the highest goal of life, that is Krishna. So that is the perfect situation. On the other hand, the person who is thinking that I am doing myself and I have to take responsibility of these persons and all that. That is the Fulgu Vairagya. Thinking that I am the person, I am the responsible. But ultimately the Krishna is everything. When we think I am doing, there lies the consciousness, problem of the consciousness. And in this way, so you have very nicely told that what should you do? So we should accept everything, any situation that comes before us, and we accept it as a Krishna's gift, and we make the best use of that. That is the best way of handling the things, and not concerning what situation I have been put to. Because everything, after all, it is creation of the Lord. And so if Krishna is the source of everything, so everything has come from Krishna. We have to accept it, and as per Krishna's plan, we have to act. And that is Krishna consciousness, what I believe. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you again for bringing that point in this class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, well summarized.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, my question is it affection can be leads to attachment sometimes?
Very nice question. Will affection lead to attachment? Yes, it can. It can lead to excessive attachment when we do not know, or we don't have the purpose of our own life and the purpose of our family life. So if we are not following the principles of Grihastha Ashram, and we are only becoming like a Grihamedhi, then that attachment, which is naturally there, will very easily become affection will become attachment. So this is very, very, very important. So a very nice question. And that's why we need guidance. See, this guidance is very important. Nobody is born a great parent. Right? We all learn from our own experiences, from others' experiences. So when we have the right guidance in our life, specifically related to Krishna consciousness, and this process is so wonderful that it is not just about family or children. Prabhupada has given us the whole process that encompasses everything. If we just follow this process and understand it correctly, then our whole life is arranged very nicely. And that affection will not become attachment. That is how we stay sheltered amongst the devotees. Yes, Mataji, you're saying something.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It's really helpful. Hi, Laura. I'm a very new devotee, and I'm still in the process of grabbing a lot of knowledge and siksha from wherever I can get at the moment. But it's really, really helping me. But how are you saying about the Srila Prabhupada things that I can learn from that? So would you please suggest me where I can get all that knowledge from? Little bit about the affection and the attachment.
Well, two things keep coming to this Bhagavatam forum, which is where devotees share their experiences and descriptions of Bhagavatam, and we get so much learnings from it. That's one. Second is, if you have, I don't know, are you in Topo? Wherever you are, if there are any devotees close by, we should always have Sangha, like a weekly Sangha, where we come, we have some Kirtan, we have some description, some discussions from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. And if you're not having any close devotees where you stay, just be in touch with one of us. And there are online platforms which we can connect you with. So the key thing is to have devotee association. Without association, you're absolutely right. Our affection will definitely become attachment, as we see happening around us. So always seek devotee association. That is our only shelter, and that is our only guarantee that we will not deviate from our path.
Yes, Prabhuji, I don't have any association of devotees over here, and I'm just by myself trying to do as much as I can, and I really, really want to grow in a spiritual life.
Right.
And please to Krishna. So if you can, or anybody can really, really help me, I want to pour my soul in it.
Sure. Just reach out to maybe Nandavraj Prabhu or Abhay Charan Prabhu, who manage this whole forum, and they will, based on your situation, they'll be able to direct you towards the right source. But definitely, I think that's a good thing that you have in mind. Search for the right association. So have you got Nandavraj Prabhu's number? Is there in the group if you are there? Or
I just recently started joining this class 2 days ago, and I have no knowledge about anyone at the moment.
Prabhu, do we have? Sorry.
You live in Taupa Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. My name is Raghavendra Das. We in Hamilton. I mean, you can, if possible, come down to Hamilton, or Sanivas Prabhu from Palmerston. He travels quite a bit from Palmerston to Auckland, so he can come sometimes, can be passed through Taupo. Yeah,
Sure.
please send your contact details. I'll check with Sanivas Prabhu. He may know someone in Taupo as well.
So are you part of the group, the Bhagavatam group, or the ISKCON Auckland group? Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm from I have recently been added into the ISKCON Auckland group.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So just maybe I don't know. Do we have anybody's contact here? People who are
Only the Prabhuji on a reception, Haridas Prabhuji,
okay.
and Sudharma Mataji.
Maybe just in the chat, put your mobile number in the
Yes.
current chat,
Yes, Prabhuji.
and one of us will pick it up and be in touch with you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Really appreciate for your help.
So maybe if it's okay with Abhaycharan Prabhu and Manduraj Prabhu, we can connect you to them. No problem.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Really appreciate it.
Is it okay, Nandaraj Prabhu?
Yeah, that's fine, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because they are the senior devotees here, so they can nicely manage and connect devotees appropriately.
Dolva 30.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Don't worry, you're in a safe environment. Okay, any other comments or questions? Yeah, all good. Okay. Yeah, all good, Prabhu. Then I think we can.
Prabhuji, I have sent the details of my numbers and name. Have you received? Just to confirm.
Yes,
Yes.
Mataji, we have received.
We have received. I have noted it down.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna, but everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll conclude.
कृपा सिन्धु भएपछि पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हिज ग्रेस सुहित कृष्ण प्रभु की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे हरि बोल ऑल ग्रेस असम्बल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू वेरी मच प्रभु हरे कृष्ण
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।